right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go from Kansas. It's going to be the look at that Canadian Stig is on the pole. Jeff Hinkle up on the front row with him. Greg McDaniel, Kevin Reed on the second row. Ian Ogden, DJ Kenner on the third row. Kyle Holden and AJ Gotze on the fourth. Mark Dantuma and Mark Nelson rounding out the top 10. Harley Barletta in 11th and Vern Springs starting 12th. William Mann Jr. 13th, William Mann 14th. Jared Heasley 15th, Rick Sargent 16th, Matt Johnston 17th, Eric Stoy starts 18th. Nicole, that's what she said, Creasel in 19th. Richie West starting 20th. Cheryl Newman is back in the field in 21st. Aaron Mason starting 22nd. Gerald Thanos Poole 23rd. Austin Abel 24th. Brian Oshinska rounds out the field. And Thanos just said, oh no. All we got to say to Canadian Restart is, to Canadian Stig is no Canadian restarts. Go get somebody. Hinkle's ready to go. Here they go, rolling off pit road. They'll have one pace lap to form up, and then they are going racing. Down the back straightaway, everybody getting lined up for their start. Take a deep breath, folks, because this is going to be 110 laps of non-stop excitement at Kansas. Pace car is in, and here we go. Down toward the start-finish line. Green flag is in the air there, down and away at Kansas. Everybody coming up through the gears, trying to get to the back straightaway and do what they do. AJ Gotze already making up some positions on the start, but it's getting a little sketchy. And the 13th of Mark Dantuma starting to make some moves forward as well. Not even to the back straightaway, or not even completed the first lap. Several drivers already picking up multiple positions, but Canadian Stig leads the first lap. Greg McDaniel in second, Jeff Hinkle in third, Ian Ogden in fourth, Kevin Reed in fifth, AJ Gotze up 2 spots. Oh! The 21 of Ian Ogden has a problem off turn 2. He ends up down the apron. Looks like Austin Habel has gone off track. See, Austin was in the wall in 1 and 2, it looks like. Trying to see if we can find a replay of what happened to Habel right before that. But it looks like he had started from pit road. David, I have to agree, these cars with the lesser downforce and all that power just makes for some exciting racing, including 3 wide off turn 4. And a big one in the middle of the field. Caution. Cars sliding everywhere. Jared Heasley, Mark Nelson involved in this. Let's see if we can see. There's Jared Heasley back behind. They come off 3 wide. It looked like William Mann Sr. got caught up in the middle of that just a little bit. Oh, Mark Nelson looked like he came up as A couple of cars were loose and they all just slide through there. William Mann Jr. gets caught up in that one. Jr. ends up sideways and gets into Richie. Three wide off of turn 4 early on. Cold tires just does not end well. So the Canadian Stig still in the lead. Greg McDaniel in second. Big mover so far though. Jeff Hinkle is in third. AJ Godsey up 4 spots into fourth. Mark Dantuma up 2 spots into 7th. Harley Barletta up 3 spots into 8th. Several drivers headed to pit road for repairs. Vern Spring, Ian Ogden, Mark Nelson, Matt Johnston, Richie West, Brian Oshinska all on pit road for repairs. William Mann Jr. also on pit road for repairs. Austin Habel is back out on track. Austin a couple of laps down, looking to regain some time here. Getting word from Topher Baltimore, DJ, the Iceman Kenner, never took the grid, so the Iceman not here tonight. Probably a good thing for the rest of the field. I've seen DJ win here in an Xfinity car, and this is kind of his bread and butter type track. He is extremely strong on these 1.5 miles. Kansas Speedway, 1.5 miles with 18 to 20 degrees of progressive banking in the turns, 9 to 11 degrees of progressive banking on the front straightaway, and 5 degrees of banking on the back straightaway. It looks like Austin Habel has had another issue. If I didn't know better, I would swear Habel is having some sort of technical issues. Never seen him have problems like what we are seeing here tonight. One driver that came through that crash completely unscathed and picked up a ton of positions. Nicole, that's what she said. Kriesel up 6 spots into 13th. Cheryl Newman up 7 spots into 14th. The ladies are starting to make their way forward. We've been predicting Nicole getting that first league win for quite some time. Could tonight be the night? One to green as Canadian Stig and Greg McDaniel line up on the front row. Jeff Hinkle, AJ Godsey on the second row. Kevin Reed, Kyle Holden of the third. Harley Barletta and Mark Dantuma on the fourth row. Eric Stoy, William Mann Sr. rounding out the top 10. And you know, we would be remiss if we didn't show off that 32 car. See if we can get a good angle. Isn't that a pretty car? Granted, it's a Toyota, but it's still a pretty car. You know what? We haven't really done it yet, and it is a lot of fun to do. How about you guys? I will shut up for a minute, and on the restart, turn up the volume and let's crank it up. Yeah, I enjoy that a whole lot. Canadian Stick caught him napping on the restart, has jumped out to an 0.8 of a second lead over Greg McDaniel. AJ Godsey up into third. Hinkle now to fourth, Kevin Reed in fifth. Harley Barletta continues his march to the front, as does Mark Dantuma, and look who else is charging for it. Eric Stoy in the 4 car, up 9 spots into 9th place right now. Austin Habel is coming back up off of pit road. But Eric Stoy definitely charging forward here. Kyle Holden right up on the wall in turn 3. I think that he was probably closer than he realized, but kept it out of the wall. The safer barriers here often feel like they're made of glue. They'll pull you in and you cannot get away. Greg McDaniel in second is starting to run down the leader. AJ Godsey in third is about 0.4 of a second back. A little bit of a spread in the top 5. But outside the top 5, Harley Barletta just hopped into the top 5, getting past Kevin Reed. Mark Dantuma now up into 7th. Eric Stoy into 8th. Nicole Kriesel had a problem on the restart. Not sure what happened. She has fallen all the way back to 22nd. Look for her to have to start working her way back toward the front. Cheryl Newman, who had picked up a bunch of spots, still holding on to 14th. William Mann Sr. currently in 10th place. Coming by points leader Kyle Holden. Kyle did say not one of his best tracks. Looks like he is struggling here just a bit tonight. Meanwhile, Canadian Stig leading the field, but Greg McDaniel looking low. Meanwhile, Harley Barletta continuing his charge toward the front. He's side by side with Jeff Hinkle for 4th. Through 3 and 4, Harley up on the high side, Hinkle down on the bottom. Meanwhile, Canadian Stig still holding Greg McDaniel off for the moment, but AJ Godsey is close back in. Greg looks up to the high side. Oh, a little bit of a bobble there off of turn 2 for both AJ and Greg. AJ now back to the bottom. Jeff Hinkle, Harley Barletta still side by side. Back behind him, Kevin Reed, Mark Dantuma still battling. That's allowing Eric Stoy to pull back up into that fight as well. Greg McDaniel has gotten to the lead. Canadian Stig fading back just a little bit. Austin Habel has crashed. Oh, Austin loose off turn 2. Hard hit to the inside wall. That might be the end of Austin Habel's night. I have to think. We'll see if race control can confirm this, but I have to think Austin just having some sort of massive technical difficulties. Very unusual to see Austin Habel struggling at a track. Was Greg out of shape off it too? Eric Stoy continuing his march to the front. He is now up to 7th. Let's hop in Eric's car for a lap around Kansas. Across the start-finish line, down into turn 1, out of the throttle. Just trying to feather that throttle, keep some grip and speed. Out of turn 2, down the back straightaway. Canadian Stig may have used his tires up a little bit earlier. Look for him to charge back forward after the first pit stop. Meanwhile, Eric closes right to the back bumper as they cross the start-finish line. Austin Habel officially retired. Topher, can you confirm he was having technical difficulties or not? Harley Barletta has chased his way up into 2nd place. AJ Godsey currently in 3rd. Jeff Hinkle in 4th. Mark Dantuma now to 5th. Eric Stoy up to 6th as he is gotten by Canadian Stig. And it does sound like Austin Habel was having technical difficulties, wheel problems. And something you really hate to hear, especially out of a guy like Austin, who is usually so fast. Greg McDaniel, since taking the lead, has pulled out a 1.1 second lead. Harley Barletta, though, now in 2nd, trying to close that gap. AJ Godsey currently 3rd, Jeff Hinkle in 4th, and Mark Dantuma in 5th, but the biggest mover thus far has been Eric Stoy in 6th place. Eric started back in 18th place, has managed to come through a little bit of chaos and drive past a whole lot of guys to get up to where he is. Canadian Stig starting to come back to life. He is now back in 7th. Kevin Reed back to 8th. Heasley starting to make his way forward. He is up to 9th after starting at 15th. He did say he predicted that 32 car would end up in the wall before the night is over. Oh, a little bit loose off turn 4 for Heasley. Kevin Reed in 9th, William Mann Sr. in 10th. Interesting note about Jared Heasley and Harley Barletta. If Jared gets to Harley tonight, there's no telling what could happen. Oh, the 59 is up in the wall. That is Kyle Holden. He manages to pull back down. Almost got into the back bumper of Kevin Reed. And look at him spread out as William Mann Sr. backs out of it. They were 3 wide briefly. Back to Jared Heasley and Harley Barletta. A couple of weeks ago, oh, Heasley's in the wall. Couple of weeks ago, Harley Barletta ended up causing a wreck while being lapped, trying to race with the leaders, and took out Jared Heasley. Harley has been apologetic, but he fully expects some retribution from that from Jared before the night's out. Petey, your first statement I agree with wholeheartedly. And your second statement there, Petey, I'm a little disturbed. It'll definitely come up Tuesday night during XCal. Yep. Oh, look at William Mann. Holy cow, look at William Mann Jr. He has got a... Oh! 21 gets in the back. William Mann saves it. This is chaos. Look at the save by William Mann Jr. as he starts making his way forward. He obviously was saving tires the first half of this run. He is suddenly coming alive, cutting through traffic like crazy. Ian Ogden gets in his left rear, doesn't even faze him. He kept his foot in it and full sent it. Now climbs up, gets right behind Kevin Reed. Yeah, Petey, make sure you send me a reminder on that Tuesday so I can put it in my notes. Greg McDaniel still leads his lead now 2 seconds over Harley Barletta. AJ Godsey in third. Jeff Hinkle in fourth. Now has to contend with Mark Dantuma in fifth. Canadian Stig has started working his way back up. He is in sixth. Eric Stoy has dropped back to seventh. Kyle Holden in eighth. This battle back here from 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th is getting a bit nuts as here comes William Mann Jr. finally having gotten past Kevin Reed. Now trying to run down Kyle Holden 1.6 seconds ahead, but they have not backed off. There is a battle literally everywhere on track right now. Jared Heasley back in 13th as William Mann Sr. closing in. Richie West, who was involved in that earlier incident, has repaired. He's back in 15th after starting in 20th. We saw Jared Heasley get into the wall a few moments ago. Let's see if we can get a closer look at the right rear. Yeah, he definitely has some right rear damage on the car as William Mann Sr. comes back by. William Mann Sr. had gotten as high as 10th. Meanwhile, Greg McDaniel so far just walking away. AJ Godsey has 3 wins on the season. So far, AJ right by the wall. AJ has 3 wins out of the first 5 races, but having missed 1 race and had one bad race, has relegated him to 3rd in points. If he could pull the win tonight, he'd definitely close up that gap. He's currently just 2 points behind Harley Barletta in 2nd and 11 points out of the lead with Kyle Holden. Greg McDaniel, however, comes into tonight 6th in points and is doing an excellent job so far. Since he has gotten out to the lead, he has just pulled away. But we still have the first round of green flag pit stops coming soon. And as we saw during practice, anything can happen going to pit road at this track. AJ Godsey is in. Canadian Stig is in. Pit stops are underway at Kansas. Harley Barletta now up to 2nd. Jeff Hinkle in 3rd. Dan Tuma in 4th. A few drivers did hit pit road earlier on for repairs. Took tires and fuel. Aaron Mason is on pit road. Jared Heasley is on pit road. Nicole Creasel down low. She is headed to pit road. Greg McDaniel looks like he is staying out. Harley Barletta is on pit road. Move Jeff Hinkle up to 2nd. Greg McDaniel still staying out, trying to stretch as far as possible. With pit stops here, caution is a possibility. Gerald Poole is rolling off pit road now, as is Arid Mason. Jared Easley coming up to speed. And now that the first round of pit stops is underway, you have to wonder how long can Greg stay out here before he starts losing time. Greg McDaniel is slowing down. He is going to give up the lead. McDaniel on pit road. Hinkle is going to stay out. Mark Dantuma stays out. Kyle Holden stays out. William Mann Jr. stays out. Jeff Hinkle really stretching it here. Let's see. Here comes Hinkle. Oh, a hard bang down onto the apron. Here comes Kyle Holden. Mark Dantuma. William Mann Jr. stays out and assumes the lead for the first time tonight. Kevin Reed is on pit road. William Mann Sr. is on pit road. Greg McDaniel, who was leading when he came to pit road, is on his way back out. Richie West still out in second. Brian Oshinska in third. Matt Johnston fourth. Rick Sargent currently fifth. Rick is the only driver currently in the top five that has not been to pit road at all tonight for repairs or anything. So it'll be interesting to see just how far Rick can stretch this. There, three wide. Matt Johnston backing out of it. Matt on old tires getting sliced and diced by a lot of fast guys. Rick Sargent on pit road. William Mann Jr. still out, but I'm betting he comes this time. Richie West in second. You see those fresh tires. Oh, look at the Canadian Stig. He was sideways into three. Canadian Stig all the way to the apron to make something happen here. He's going to pull up in front of AJ Codsey. Meanwhile, Greg McDaniel is leading the cars that have been to pit road. The top four have not pitted yet. Greg McDaniel just turned the fastest lap of the race so far. William Mann Jr. continues to extend this. When he went to pit road on lap 5, he got repairs and fuel only. Did not take tires. He probably has a few more laps in that thing. Rick Sargent has come to pit road, the only driver that had not pitted at all yet. Brian Oshinska gives up fourth, comes to pit road. The top three are the only ones still on track. Here comes Thanos. Gerald has made his way all the way up into 15th now after starting 23rd. William Mann Jr. continuing to stretch. Richie West in second. Matt Johnston. Matt Johnston's coming to pit road. He gives up third. We have seen Richie West pull this strategy before last season at Vegas, getting his first win in the BRR Cup Series. Pulled the same trick, stretched the fuel as far as he could. Every run came out with an advantage and an extra set of tires late in the race when it counted the most. William Mann Jr. on pit road. Richie West has assumed the lead. Once pit stop cycle through, Greg McDaniel will still have the lead. How much further does Richie try and push it? Richie is on pit road. The last car to come to pit road is in. Greg McDaniel will reassume the lead when he comes past. And Greg McDaniel has reassumed the lead, 1.4 seconds over Harley Barletta in second. AJ Godsey in third is 9 seconds back. Greg McDaniel, Harley Barletta are in another dimension here tonight. Canadian Stig right there in fourth, and look at this, Jared Heasley. We saw him get in the wall earlier in the race. He's now up into fifth. And Heasley definitely pushing it off four. You could not have fit a piece of paper between him and the wall off turn four. Jeff Hinkle currently in sixth. Ian Ogden seventh. Mark Dantuma is eighth. Mark Nelson in ninth. Kyle Holden back in 10th. Bit of a surprise to see the field is spread out as they are. The 14 cars on the lead lap. But from third on back, they are pretty tightly grouped up here as Jared Heasley looks low on Canadian Stig. Jared Heasley makes a move up to fourth place. Canadian Stig back in fifth. Some say the 87 car spins his tires on restarts. Look at that, Canadian Stig really sending it, getting everything he can out of that car. Jeff Hinkle currently in 6th, Ian Ogden 7th, Mark Dantuma in 8th, Mark Nelson in 9th, Kyle Holden the points leader all the way back in 10th. Kyle did say in pre-race, not his best track, just looking to survive and get a decent finish here tonight. William Mann Sr. in 11th, William Mann Jr. in 12th. Thanos is up to 13th now. Gerald Poole started 23rd, up to 13th. I can tell you, Gerald's struggling with some allergy issues tonight. Said his eyes were extremely fuzzy despite allergy meds today, just because he left his window open last night while he slept and pollen went everywhere. So you got to give the guy credit. He is still in this fight. But here comes Aaron Mason down to the bottom. Greg McDaniel up to the high side. Richie West unlapping himself here. Remember, Richie stretched it further than anybody else. Greg McDaniel stopped on lap 38. Richie West stopped 8 laps later. He has the freshest tires on the track right now. Richie West clears Greg McDaniel. He's back to the lead lap. Now the question is, will Richie's strategy pay off here? Harley Barletta in second. A lot of lap traffic around. There's Kevin Reed and the 44, Brian Oshinska. Jared Heasley back and forth, but Jeff Hinkle starting to come alive. This is classic Jeff Hinkle. Not the fastest early in the run, but later in the run, you better watch out. And look at this. He's just going to power by AJ Godsey. AJ, the three-time winner just this season, last season's champion, doesn't have a thing for Jeff Hinkle tonight. AJ back to fourth. Jared Heasley still holding on to his top 5 spot. Ian Ogden in 6th place has the Canadian Stig right next to him. Mark Nelson, Mark Dantuma also there. It's a 4-car battle for 6. Here comes Nelson down to the bottom. Dantuma closing in on the bottom as well. Mark Nelson clears Ian Ogden, pulls ahead. Mark Dantuma slipping back, trying to hold the bottom and get past Canadian Stig. Greg McDaniel, meanwhile, continues to extend his lead over Harley Barletta, now 3.3 seconds. Jeff Hinkle in third, 11.6 seconds back, trying to pick up some ground here. AJ in fourth, Jared in fifth. Mark Nelson sixth, Ian Ogden in seventh. Mark Dantuma finally getting by into 8th place. Canadian Stig back in 9th. Kyle Holden still holding on to 10th, but William Mann Jr. is closing in. Canadian Stig is going to pit road. I do believe this is a little bit early in the run for him to hit pit road. $50 laps to go. Greg McDaniel has controlled most of this race. Greg McDaniel in car. He just continues to click away consistent lap times. Ian Ogden had an incident a moment ago. Let's see what happened. Off of turn 4. Oh, hard into the wall. Goes down through the grass. Great save by Ian down through the grass. Gets the car straightened out. Gets back up on track. Lost a lot of track position, but held on to the car. Ian Ogden now back into 13th. Heavy right side damage. Greg McDaniel's lead now 3.4 seconds. AJ Godsey is on pit road for his second stop, and it looks like Our second round of green flag stops are getting started. Greg McDaniel continuing to lead. The question becomes, do guys like Richie West, how far do they stretch it? Canadian Stick goes flying by on those fresh tires. Remember, Richie West was the last one to stop on that first round of green flag stops. Based on when he stopped, he could actually go to lap 90. 85 to 90, somewhere in there. He could have the freshest tires late in this run. He is up to 10th, back up to 10th now. But Greg McDaniel still not far behind. Harley Barletta in second, Jeff Hinkle in third, Mark Nelson is fourth. Jared Heasley holding on to fifth for the moment, but Mark Dantuma shoots to the bottom. Mark has finally come to the realization that a smart man drives a Chevy, and it is paying off for him. Richie West, meanwhile, has picked up 9th place as he continues trying to march his way forward. Kyle Holden, the points leader, currently in 8th. And a side-by-side battle between William Mann Jr. and Eric Stoy. Eric Stoy currently in 17th place, a lap down. William Mann Jr. pulling ahead. I'm guessing Eric lost some, looks like Eric got a speeding penalty on pit road last time. Mark Nelson in 4th, Dan Tuma in 5th. Jared Heasley up 9 spots into 6th. Kyle Holden, the points leader, currently in 7th place, trying to get as many points as possible here. Vern Spring in the middle of that mix almost drifts up into the left rear quarter panel of the points leader. Looks like Vern's going to follow Canadian Stig around and they clear the points leader. Eric Stoy is on pit road. Aaron Mason now on pit road. Greg McDaniel continues clicking away laps. Greg last on pit road, lap 38. If he can make it to 76, this would be his last pit stop. This is going to be a final stop for several drivers. Harley Barletta gives up 2nd place to come to pit road. Greg McDaniel's lead is, now that Harley Barletta is on pit road, Jeff Hinkle assumes second place, and this will tell you how big that gap is. Harley was 4 seconds behind. Jeff Hinkle 16 1/4 seconds back. Greg McDaniel so far has been the class of the field here tonight. Jared Heasley, Jeff Hinkle on pit road. Gerald Poole on pit road. AJ Godsey has been to pit road. You can tell he's got fresh tires as he just drives by Mark Nelson. Greg McDaniel gives up the lead on lap 75. What should be his final pit stop. Mark Nelson, currently scored in second place, has not been in for his final stop. Here comes Mark Nelson. Mark Dantuma looks into pit road as well. Kyle Holden stays out. William Mann Jr. now staying out as well. Richie West, we knew would stay out. He will not have to pit, at least for fuel, for another 10 to 15 laps. And as they come off pit road, some big stack ups back behind. Eric Stoy on fresh tires, cutting through some drivers on older tires. Jared Heasley up top, coming by William Mann Sr. Great drive past the lap car by Jared Heasley. William Mann Jr. still holding on to the lead. Kyle Holden is back off of pit road. William Mann Sr. now on pit road. William Mann Jr. continuing to lead. Richie West continuing in second. Richie really needs a caution to come out here, but the one driver who does not want to see any cautions the rest of the night is Greg McDaniel, currently scored in 5th place. And Harley Barletta, with a faster pit stop, is now in front of Greg McDaniel. Rick Sargent gives up 3rd. He is on pit road. William Mann Jr. continuing to pull away, but has not had his final pit stop. Richie West in second has not had his. Everybody else has been to pit road for the last time. "30 laps to go for Harley Barletta." But here comes Greg McDaniel. He is closing in. The gap back to AJ Godsey from this battle for the lead, 9 seconds. Ian Ogden has towed to pit road. Not sure what happened. See if he had an issue entering pit road. Not sure what happened to Ian. He was not at speed off of turn 4. William Mann Jr., Richie West in first and second have not been in for their final stops. Everybody else has, including Harley Barletta and Greg McDaniel in third and fourth. This could be the battle for the win. William Mann Jr. has given up the lead. He is on pit road. Harley Barletta now to second, Greg McDaniel in third. And they are 1 second behind Richie West and gaining. Into turn 3. Does Greg make his move now or does he wait? Richie West down to the bottom. Does not come to pit road yet. Harley Barletta reclaims the lead. Greg McDaniel now in second. Richie West currently in third, still waiting to come to pit road. AJ Godsey in fourth. Jeff Hinkle currently in fifth. Canadian Stig in sixth place. Jared Heasley now up to 7th. Mark Dantuma in 8th. Mark Nelson in 9th. Kyle Holden, the points leader, in 10th. Aaron Mason up 11 spots. He is in 11th place. William Mann Jr. in 12th. Rick Sargent in 13th. Kevin Reed in 14th. Gerald Thanos Poole up to 15th. Eric Stoy back up into 16th. Brian Oshinska in 17th. Matt Johnston currently in 18th. William Mann Sr. back in 19th and Vern Spring in 20th. Cheryl Newman 21st. Nicole Kriesel currently 22nd. Ian Ogden, Austin Habel out of the race. DJ Kenner did not take the grid. Richie West has finally come to pit road. Greg McDaniel has reclaimed the lead from Harley Barletta. Let's see that pass for the lead. Off of turn 4, Greg has some momentum, drops down to the bottom. Off into turn 1, just pulls ahead. Harley can do nothing to counter him here. Harley Barletta now half a second back. AJ Godsey in third, 15 seconds behind the leaders. Jeff Hinkle in fourth, 5 seconds behind AJ and closing quickly. Jared Heasley now back up into 5th place. Mark Dantuma in 6th. Mark Nelson 7th. Canadian Stig is back on pit road. Greg McDaniel continues to just click away laps and lap cars along the way. Only 7 cars left on the lead lap. AJ Godsey is back on pit road. He gave up third. Now the top 2 have an even bigger gap back to 3rd place. Greg McDaniel's lead 1.2 seconds. Harley Barletta in second has 21 seconds. Back to Jeff Hinkle in third. Jared Heasley now up into fourth as he continues his march forward. Mark Dantuma in fifth. Mark Nelson in sixth. With 20 laps to go, AJ Godsey is now back up off of pit road. But I have to wonder what this strategy was. He took 4 tires and fuel. AJ comes off of pit road in 17th place. Meanwhile, Greg McDaniels continues to pull away. This would be Greg's first win of the season. This could also be his first Xfinity win in the BRR series. Would also be a huge points night as he would pick up at least 2 spots and move up to 4th in points. Harley Barletta is back on pit road. It looks like some of these drivers just a hair short on fuel. Now the question becomes, does Greg McDaniel have enough fuel to make it to the end? Last stopped on lap 75, he should have had. Jeff Hinkle is on pit road. How far can Greg make it here? 35 laps would be the run. I would think that would be doable. And that raises the question of a guy like Richie West, who pitted later than everybody, who is now up in 9th place. Does Richie have a surprise for all of them here? Greg McDaniel continues to lead. Jared Heasley is now up into 2nd. Mark Dantuma in 3rd. Mark Nelson in 4th. Kyle Holden in 5th. Keeping a close eye on Greg McDaniel's lap times, he is definitely not saving fuel at the moment. He is still full throttle around the track. Mark Dantuma in 2nd place is actually a straightaway ahead of the leader. Greg McDaniel may end up lapping even more cars. Mark Nelson back in 4th, Jared Heasley in 3rd, and Mark Dantuma in 2nd. All very close on the track with 1 lap car in the middle of that. I believe that's Cheryl Newman in the mix. Can the top 4 go the distance on fuel from here? Greg McDaniel gets 10 to go from his spotter. Let's see if we can get a word with race control. Hey, Topher, it's Doug. You got me?
Hey, Doug. How's it going?
Hey, I have to ask the obvious question. What are you hearing from the drivers? Can the top 4 make it on fuel?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm as much in the dark as you are, so we'll find out, won't we?
Mathematically speaking, I have to think that at least Greg and the Marks can make it. Jared Heasley is kind of questionable.
Jared's on 2 extra laps. The top 3 are all on the same pit, so it's going to be. It might be Harley's to steal.
You got to wonder about Richie West's strategy stretching as much as he has. He is already back up into 8th. And if these guys have to pit, he's going to pick up a lot of positions.
Yeah, it really might be Harley and Richie at the end.
It could get very interesting here late in the race. Who's your pick on this one?
Oh, I'm still going with Canadian Stig.
You know, I noticed something interesting about that. Some say he has not commented on this broadcast because he's in the race.
I think he's just busy.
Could be.
It could be.
It's been a very clean race. Any complaints out of the drivers?
Nothing that I've heard. Nobody's said anything. It's been relatively, other than the first couple incidents on the first couple laps, not really much going on.
That's obviously always a good thing.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right, well, good luck with the rest of it. Hopefully we stay green to the end.
Only a few more laps. We'll find out.
True that.
Thanks, Doug.
All right, Topher Baltimore, huge shout out for him taking race control duties this season. And a big question mark with the top 4. Can they make it on fuel? The top 3 all stopped on lap 75. Jared Heasley in 4th, stopped on lap 73. Greg McDaniel definitely has not been pushing the issue when encountering lap cars as Harley Barletta goes by on fresh tires. Harley Barletta in 5th, just unlapped himself. Here comes Eric Stoy. He's going to get one of his laps back in 19th. 5 to go for Greg McDaniel. Greg McDaniel's lap times do not indicate a guy who is saving fuel. He has to be pretty confident he is going to be able to make it. Four to go. He drops down, comes by Gerald Thanospool. Mark Dantuma in 2nd place, 26 seconds behind, with Mark Nelson and Jared Heasley right on the bumper. Mark Dantuma coming by Nicole Kriesel on the high side, Mark Nelson just behind. Greg McDaniel down the back straightaway. He has a 26-second lead right now. That's 2/3. Actually, it's about 7/8 of a lap to go. Popsicle sticks in the air for Greg McDaniel. 2 to go. Mark D'Antuma and Mark Nelson now battling it out for second place. Greg McDaniel comes out of turn 4. White flag is in the air. Mark Nelson, Mark D'Antuma battle it out for second place. Mark Nelson down to the bottom. White flag in the air. D'Antuma holds Nelson off. Heasley has lost touch with him. But here comes Greg McDaniel, almost a full lap ahead, and pulls a win. What a win by Greg McDaniel. Almost a full lap, 26 seconds over Mark D'Antuma. Mark D'Antuma, Mark Nelson still battling it out through 3 and 4. Out of turn 4, Nelson looks low. Will he have enough? It's a drag race, but it is D'Antuma at the line for second. Mark Nelson comes home third. Jared Heasley fourth. Harley Barletta finishes fifth. And let's see if we can talk to our top 3. Hey, Mark, this is Doug. You got me?
I got you, Doug.
Hey, quite a battle you and D'Antuma had there at the end, but just not enough coming to the line.
Yeah. Are you still there, Doug?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. I thought you cut out there for a second. Yeah, that was the hardest I've ever fought for third place, that's for sure. I didn't think I'd end the way the race started, though, that's for sure.
It did get a little bit wild in the middle of the race for you, but you managed to come back from a bit of excitement.
Yeah, I thought I was done after that got clipped in that wreck, but thanks to the long green flag run, that's kind of my strength. So I'll take third, absolutely. And congrats to Greg. He just was gone. After I got to third place, they were gone.
They were in another time zone tonight.
Yeah, well, all right. Well, I appreciate everything, Doug, and you have a good night.
All right, you too, buddy. All right, let's see if we can find Mark D'Antuma. Hey, Mark, this is Doug. You got me?
I got you, buddy. What's up?
Hey, Chevy Power gets you to second place.
Actually, it's more Chevy fuel economy that did it, but
It was a little dicey there. We weren't sure if the top 4 could make it on fuel.
yeah, I'm 1.3 laps to the good, so it was pretty tight.
Well, it did get a little bit sketchy, but man, you and Nelson had quite a battle there on that last lap.
Yeah, I just had to keep it on that high line because it's so difficult to get by on the inside. I knew he was going to have to struggle.
You had an awesome night, an awesome race. You picked up 7 spots from the beginning at a point where it did, a couple of times it looked like you weren't going to be able to move forward at all.
Yeah, I kind of smacked the wall a little early on and did a little aero damage, but once I got that fixed, the car took off.
Well, man, you did a great job. Stick to Chevy. You'll be in victory lane before you know it.
I just might have to do that. Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, buddy. Let's see if we can find our winner. Hey, Greg, this is Doug. You got me?
I got you, Doug! Can you believe it?
Man, that was long overdue and the most dominant win I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, well, our leagues are over here at the bowling alley, so I'm getting to practice more, and I ran Road to Pro here in a truck Thursday. I've ran 3 public next-gen races here, a league next-gen race here this morning, and now this. So I think all the practice paid off this time.
It definitely did, man. You had a 26-second lead. It's roughly 7/8 of a lap on second place.
Well, the first I ran pretty hard the first stint, and we had that caution in there, so that helped. But I did a fuel run in practice, and I knew if you ran it onto fumes, you could go basically one lap over what you needed to make it to the end if we didn't have any cautions. And so after that first pit stop, I about halfway through both of those last two runs, once I was clear and had a couple seconds on Harley, I just started lifting early and running half throttle through the corners to make sure I wound up with enough fuel. I think I was 2 laps to the good, and after all the burnouts here, I'm about to run out of fuel. I'm down to 0.3 now.
I have to say, I was watching your lap times, and it did not appear you were a guy saving fuel at any point during that race.
Well, these cars, the fall off's pretty good. It's a couple seconds, so you can pretty much go full throttle through the at least 1 and 2, and you got to let off a little in 3 and 4 the first 5 or 6 laps, and then you got to start backing it off and backing it off. So it actually worked out pretty good that by halfway through the run, I just would half throttle it through there and just kept an eye on my margins back to Harley. So it all worked out. So it's nice to win another one of these. This is 2 of them now, so I'm pretty happy.
I have to say, looking at where the finishing order is, I know you're going to jump up at least 2 spots in the points. But it's definitely going to tighten up the points after tonight's race. And you're definitely, we've been saying it for a long time, you'd be in contention for one of these titles, and it's definitely coming to fruition.
Well, the points will take care of themselves. There's just so many good guys in here. I'm sure I'll forget a few, but AJ, Harley, Kyle's back. It's just to beat those guys heads up. I don't know if I've ever beat AJ heads up before or Kyle, so pretty excited about tonight's race.
As well you should be, man. Congratulations. That was an awesome, awesome victory.
Thank you, Doug. Always a pleasure talking to you, my friend. Take care.
You too, buddy. What a dominant performance by a very happy Greg McDaniel. Don't forget to come back tomorrow night, Jones BS Racing, 7:30 Eastern. That's always a great time. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you're following us on all the social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube. This race will be on YouTube later this evening, weather permitting, because it started storming midway through. Hope you guys had as much fun as we did tonight. Have a wonderful night.